All right. Hi, good evening, Natalia. How are you? How do you feel today?
Hi, Professor. I'm fine.
Great. That's great to know. Let's start then with the class, please, Natalia. Today and Wednesday are our last classes for this course. We have three lessons more or less yet to cover, so we're going to work on them. All right? We're going to begin so that we have the time to finish it. So the first lesson, Natalia, is used to. Let's try to talk about it first. What do you know about used to, Natalia? Have you used this structure before?
Yes, you have used to when you talk about I think routines or maybe actions in the past, but that you have that you do many times.
All right, great, exactly. Habits, routines, and always related to the past, right? We don't do this anymore. It's not real in the present now, but it was real in the past, right? So, what do you say? What is something that you used to do in the past, Natalia? What is a previous routine that you had in the past that you don't have anymore?
And for example, I used to go at the university all the afternoons.
Great. Just remember, if you say go after go, you need the preposition to, right? So it's going to be go to the university in that case, right? Great. So I used to go to the university in the afternoons. Yes, that's perfect. And what about the opposite? What is something that you didn't used to do, but now you do?
Uh, I work, but I don't used to.
Exactly, in negative, something you didn't used to do, but now in
Ah,
the you do.
um, I didn't used to um, go to an office for for work.
Yes. Uh-huh. If you say for work and work there is like the name of the place, it is correct, right? But if you want to say the action, then you're going to say to work, right? So it depends because work can be a noun and work can be a verb, right? So if it's a verb,
Uh-huh.
it's better to say to work if you want to say to do this action. But if you only want to say again for work, it means for this reason, then it's also good to say for work. Okay, so it depends on the meaning that you give to work. So great. I didn't used to go right to an office to work, or I didn't used to be right in an office to work. Great. There you go. So this is very simple, right? Something that, yes, Natalia, you have a question. Let me know, please.
I am hear your voice 2 times.
Yeah, let me fix that. I don't know why that's happening. Let me fix it, please.
Mhm.
Good. It should be good now, Natalia. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, it's good that you let me know because I don't know again why it happens, but anyways, that's easy, right? Used to is a very, very easy and simple structure to understand. The only part that it's going to be not complex, but that we don't need to understand is the last part of this presentation. We're going to go there, all right? But so far, I believe that it's good. So let's reinforce that knowledge that you have, please, Natalia, by reading this definition and the examples.
Mhm. We use this expression to talk about habits or repeat actions in the past, which we don't do in the present. We also use it to talk about states in the past which are not longer true. For example, I used to have long hair, but now I have short hair. He used to smoke, but now he doesn't smoke. They used to live in India, but now they live in Germany.
All right, so this is very simple, right? It's what you told me. It's something that was true in the past, something that was habit that was routine in the past, but now we don't do that anymore because something changed, right? So it's
Mhm.
simply that something that happened in the past that doesn't happen in the present anymore. Now, of
Mhm.
course, it can also be negative, as you told me, right? If it's negative, of course, I used to that simple past. What is the negative of simple past? Always didn't, right? Always didn't. So that's why the past or the negative of used to is going to be didn't used to, right? So let's read this slide, please,
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm. We use didn't for negative sentences and change the expression to the base form, used to. I didn't used to eat fish. I didn't used to eat fish. Now I eat fish. I didn't used to go out. She goes out a lot current. They didn't used to dance together. They dance together every weekend now.
Great, thank you. Right, so this is the opposite, something that was not true, something that was not part of your routine before, but now it is, right? So it was not true in the past, but it is true in the present. Okay, so again, when you use this in negative, it's always the opposite. And of course, we can also ask questions as the ones I was asking to you. So this is the last part to read, please, Natalia. Questions.
Mhm. Make the inversion to write sentences and still use the base form of the expression used to. Did you use to travel this often? What did you use to do when you were a child? Where did you use to go when you lived in Cochabamba?
Great, thank you. Right, so this is just when you want to ask questions about someone else's routines in the past, about someone else's habits in the past, right? We imagine that that's not true anymore, but that's why we ask, right? What did you used to do when you were younger? Where did you used to travel again when you were a teenager, right? Why did you used to do that 5 years ago? Okay, so we want to know about someone else's reason, someone else's explanation for habits or for routines in the past, right? So
Mhm.
that's pretty much it. We have a second part of the presentation, but this first part is something that we need to practice just in writing to be sure that everything is clear. As I'm sharing, remember we're going to do, oh yes, you're already here. I don't know if you have any questions so that we can have the first set of examples, Natalia. Let me know, please, if you have questions about the first part of the presentation.
Eh, Only the question in the slide of the questions. I'm not sure if always the phrase is did you use did you use to and next to the verb always is the same. The
Yes, of course, this can be a different subject, right? Here you can ask, did she used to travel this often? So you can change the subject. But yes, if it's
Mhm.
going to be a question, remember it's a rule. Always to use did, always to use the verb in the base form, and to because this is part of the expression. Okay, so here the
Mhm.
subject can change, but this is always going to be the same. You can add WH
Mhm.
questions, right? What, where, when, why, how, who. You can add that, but the structure of did subject plus used to is going to be always like that. Okay,
Mhm.
always the
The
case.
first is yes no question, and the second and third is a double H question.
Exactly. Correct. WH questions or
Mhm.
information questions. Exactly. In the first one, you can
Okay.
only reply, yes, I did, or no, I didn't, right? So did you use to
Mhm.
travel this often? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. But of course, in what
Mhm.
we need extra information and in what we need an object or an action, right? For example, what did you used to do when you were a child? In this case, we need an action, right? I
Mhm.
used to play a lot, right? I used to play basketball when I was a child, right? So that's
Mhm.
my action. And in where did you used to go when you lived in Cochabamba in this case? And you can reply,
Mhm.
right? I used to go to you, and you say places, right? I used to go to the cinema. I used to go to the theater, right? So again, according to the WH word, you reply with that information, right? But yes, that's
Mhm.
correct. The first one, yes, no. The next two, WH.
Okay.
All right, good. Now let's practice, please. We're going to write 6 ideas. We're going to write 2 affirmative ideas, 2 negative ideas, and 2 questions. And the 2 questions, please, as you said before, one is going to be yes, no question, and the other one is going to be WH question. All right, so we have 6 in total. I don't know if you have questions about that, Natalia.
Um, 6 in total is 4 examples with sentences.
Yes, in total, we need 6 examples, right? 2 affirmative, 2 negative, and 2 questions. And the questions, one is going to be yes, no question, and the other one is going to be a WH question. But yes, if you want to talk about statements, 4 statements and 2 questions.
Okay.
All right, good. Let's do it, please. We're going to have 4 to 5 minutes, and we'll check in that time.
Okay, I finished.
So I'm going there with you. I'm already here. So let's read your examples, please, Natalia.
I used to visit my family all the Christmas. We used to move of different cities with my family when I was a child. I didn't used to work at home like now. We didn't used to study at nights. Did you used to eat vegetables in your childhood? Where did you used to go on summer vacation?
All right, thank you very much, Natalia. Now, again, in general, it's good. Let's check just the details. All right.
Mhm.
Now, in the first two affirmatives, it is good. Here we'll have one problem with a preposition. When you move to a place, you move to different cities. All right. So the preposition that we're going to be using here is going to be to. Okay. I used to move to different cities with my family when I was a child, right? Now here, if you say all the Christmas, what do you mean when you say all the Christmas? Do you mean during that entire day in Christmas, or you want to say every Christmas?
Every
I mean,
Christmas in different years.
okay, exactly. So here, instead of all the Christmas, it's going to be better you say every Christmas. Okay, every Christmas Eve, every Christmas night, or something like that. All right, because all is like more like a quantity, and it's related to, sorry, not that big, and it's related to the entire day, for example, right? A whole day, all day. But if it's different days, it's better if you say every. All right, every
Okay.
Christmas. Then here, this is something that I don't know why sometimes Google Classroom corrects it, but here remember the rule in simple past when we use didn't, the main verb has to be in the base verb,
Yes.
right? So it's going to be use in this specific case, and it's the same over here. All right, in the two elements, so it's only going to be base verb. All right, great. Now, I didn't used to work at home like now. All right. We didn't used to study at nights. Yes, yes, and this is not bad. They want to say at night, but if you want to say also that it happened many nights, I think it's just correct like that. Now, it's just one thing over here related to the stress in this word. How do you read this word one more time?
Vegetables.
Okay, yes, I think it's better. Just the stress was incorrect. Remember that when it's a long word, it's very common that the stress is going to be in one of these two elements. In this case, it's going to be vegetables, like in the first part. Okay, so let's repeat that one more time, please. Vegetables,
Vegetables.
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 Exactly. And the vowels in
The
the middle kind
second.
of disappear.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So it's like,
Vegetables.
remember, like comfortable, right? Comfortable, vegetables, interesting. Interesting is more like in the middle, but comfortable and vegetables, those are kind of the same, right? In the two cases, the vowels in the middle disappear, but the stress is in the first part. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
comfortable, and vegetables, vegetables. But yes, the first two I kind of more stressed. Okay, so great. That's it. That's just the pronunciation. On summer vacation, all right. Yes, sometimes here we say, and this is something you're going to analyze, we say sometimes in the summer or on the summer vacation, I think it's okay. So it depends. If you only say summer, it's going to be in the summer. If you say the vacation, it's okay if you say on the summer vacation, right? Or on summer vacation. But it's more common to say in the summer when you only say that. All right. But so far it's good. I believe everything else is working good. I don't know if you have any questions about those details, Natalia. Let me know, please.
No.
All right. So let's go now to the second part. And in the second part, we have something interesting. These are the formulas, right, that you applied. In the first one, conjugation in simple past. In the second one, base form because we have didn't. And in the last one, also base form because we have did, right? Anytime we have the auxiliary, we use the base. Now, these are two different expressions, Natalia, and this is important to understand. Now, here, these are not past routines, all right? If you say the verb to be plus used to plus gerund or get used to plus gerund, this is referred to being accustomed to do something. It means how normal something is for you now, or if something is becoming normal for you. All right, and this can be past, present, future, but mainly you're going to use these ideas, Natalia, in present. Okay, so the expression that we learned that you know, this is past habits and past routines, right? So we are done with that. We finished that. Now, these are different expressions one more time. And we're going to analyze the difference here. Okay, over here, let's say, okay, if you say, we're going to do first the one that you know, right? You say, I used to travel every day, but I don't anymore. Okay, so that's the first one, right? This is past routine. And now this is different, right? So I am used to traveling every day. So it is normal for me. All right, that's the second one. And the third one is going to be, I am getting used to traveling every day. Okay, I am getting traveling. I mean, yes, I'm getting used to traveling every day because of my job. Okay, so this is past routine. Then this one over here, this is related to a, all right, being to something, and this is process and something normal for you. Okay, and this is already normal for you. Right, so this is important, and these two expressions over here, they have to be clear now, Natalia. Now again, this is what we covered. All right, this is what we did, but these are the two expressions that we have to understand. If you use the verb to be plus used to, you have to use gerund, right? You don't use infinitive as in this case, or the base verb. The same over here. If you use get used to, you have to use gerund. In these two cases, you're talking about how something is normal now, not in the past. Okay, if something is normal for you now, you say, I am used to, for example, passing classes at night. Okay, it means that that's normal for you. Or if it's not normal for you, but you are in the process of making that normal for you, Natalia, you can say, if now you don't feel accustomed to passing classes at night, but you're doing it every night, so you believe that in the future it's going to be normal for you can say, I'm getting used to passing classes every night, right? It's not normal yet, but it's in the process of being normal. And in the future, it is going to be normal for you. Okay, so those are the two new expressions. Let's first, before we have any questions, let's read what the presentation has, and then you ask the questions that you got. All right, let's begin with be used to, please, Natalia. This one over here. Let's read this slide.
Be careful. Choose be used to say you are accustomed to something, and so it seems normal or usual. If you are used to something, it is not difficult, new, or strange. Don't worry, I'm used to listening to loud music. She's used to dancing with her friends. It's not new for her.
Okay, so things that are normal for you can be used with this. Just one correction in your pronunciation. Remember, this is M, a weak consonant, and this is ED, right? So it's not going to be like accustomed. It's just going to be accustomed. Accustomed. Let's repeat that one, please.
Accustomed.
Exactly, right? So if you're accustomed to something, it means you are used to something, and it means that it's normal for you, right? That you feel that is normal for you, that it's common for you, and you can do it without any difficulties. That's why they say here, right? I'm used to listening to loud music, so no problem, right? It's not a problem for you, for me. It's something common for me. And here the same, right? She's used to dancing with her friends. It's not new for her. She dances with her friends, right? Perhaps every weekend. That's why it's normal for her. Okay, so
Mhm.
actually, let's ask the first questions here. Do you have any questions about be used to? Let me know, please, Natalia.
I understand that it's like 3 times using used to. The first case is using about talking of the past of routines, and the second, I'm used to listening to loud music is like you are talking about present situations, and the third is like you are you will be uh, accustomed in the future, I think.
Yes, yes, it is correct. This one here,
Mhm.
we're only going to learn more, but this can be actually in Italian past, in present, and in future. All right, you can even say, right, in the future or in 2 years, I will be used to speaking English, right, fluently, you can say. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
this can be future as well. But yes, in the three cases that we're learning here with me, that's correct. The first expression only used to without the verb to be, right? Only used to is past routine, correct.
Mhm.
This one with be used to is going to be past, present, or future, but in this case, this is present, right? In this example. And the next
Mhm.
one, yes, something that is in progress. And remember, this when it's you, it's going to be like so it's going to be accustomed. So you can
Customs.
say that you will be accustomed to doing something in the future when you use the third case, right? That
Mhm.
is going to be this one over here. So you're right. All right, so let's read this one as well, please, Natalia. And with this, you let me know if you have any questions.
Uh-huh. And this phrase is related in meaning to be used to. The difference is that get used to means someone is, was, or will become accustomed to something. So the verb get in the phrase can take the present, past, or future tense. I get up at 7 a.m. every day. I'm getting used to waking up early. She's getting used to dancing alone. Her friends don't dance with her like before.
Thank you very much. Right, so this is what you said. This is what I explained at the beginning. And again, remember, this also can be past, present, or future. But here we're going to use the present form for a future normality, let's say. Right, so you're saying, I'm getting used to going out alone. It means it's not normal for you yet, not yet in the present, but it will be normal for you in the future, right? So that's
Mhm.
the idea of the three elements. We practice the first one. Now we're going to practice these two. But I don't know if you have any last questions or comments before finishing and practicing be used to and get used to. Let me know, please, Natalia.
Mm, no, not now.
Good. So if that's the case, I'm going
Sorry.
to
In
tell me, Natalia.
when you use I getting used to, the other verb is in gerund too.
Yes, always. In the two cases, be used to gerund and get
Uh,
used to gerund. Exactly. If you use the base verb, it's going to be incorrect. If you use infinitive, it's going to be incorrect. Okay, only the gerund is correct here.
but if you say getting used to, the verb next is gerund at the same time. If you say
Yeah,
getting used to.
yes, getting, in that case, remember that's not gerund, that's the present participle. Okay,
uh,
remember the difference. The verb with ing in a verb is not a gerund, right? That's the present participle. This is a gerund. So here you say getting ing, and here you say traveling. But getting is the present participle, that's the continuous form, and traveling is not a verb. Remember, that's only a noun.
it's a noun.
Okay, so you can
Mhm,
say many things with ing, and they can be different things. Okay, also
mhm,
ing can be an adjective. So you can say 3 words, 4 words with ing in a sentence, and it can be correct. Okay, because they can have different meanings. So yes, in that case, you have to use the chart. All right, so let's do it, please. Let's practice with two examples for each. Two examples for be used to and two examples for getting used to. All right, let's work on that, please. And we'll check in 3 to 4 minutes to see how you did.
Okay, I finished.
Good. So I'm going there with you once again, and I'm here. So let's read those, right? All right, yes, you have two. Yeah, we do, I believe. No, we're missing, right? It was two per type. Natalia, do we have more before? No, we need a total of four, right? Two with used to, two with be used to, remember? And remember the formula, right? The formula has to be used to. If you don't use the verb to be, it is incorrect. If you only use used to, that's past routine. Okay, you always use the verb to be. Okay, so two with be used to and two with get used to. All right, so one more for each and we check, please.
Okay, 4 sentences.
That's correct. Two with the first one, two with the second. All right.
Okay.
So let's read then what you got and let's see if it is correct. Okay, let's read those four ideas, please.
I'm used to sleeping very late. He's used to driving to his office about 1 hour from here. We getting used to going to the cinema 2 weekends per month. They get used to playing football after work.
Okay, good. Now let's analyze. All right, I believe that it's good, but the last two are missing something. All right, the idea. Now, in the first two cases, we have the formula that we need, right? That it's be used to and be used to, right? And after that, you have the gerund. Okay, it's good. Now, and they are good, all right? I'm used to sleeping very late. Yes, she's used to driving to his office about 1 hour from here, right? And you can say 1 hour away from here. It's like adding the idea of distance. Okay, but that's extra. Now here, something is missing, right? This is present, yes, but remember, what do we have to use for the present continuous? Because this can be present, this can be past, this can be future, right? And if we are using ing, it means that your tense is the present perfect, right? So what is missing when you use the present perfect, Natalia? You always need that for the present perfect.
Are
Yes, correct. Exactly. So it
the
depends
verb to
what
be.
tense you're using over here. Exactly. It's not a rule here because here is just the verb in the base form, right? And you don't say be, get used to, right? But why? Because this can be past. You can say I got used to doing this and that. Or you can say in future, I will get used to doing this and that, right? Or in present, right? I always get used to new things, all right? That's another idea if it's the simple present. And that's what happens in your second example. Right here, we are missing then are because you are using the present continuous. Okay, it's not part of the formula, but it's the present continuous. And every time you use the present continuous, right, this one over here, you have to use the verb to be over here, right? So this is the present participle in the tense that is called the present continuous, and in that case you are using the gerund as well. Okay, so this is good. We are getting used to going to the cinema 2 weekends per month. Okay, that's great. It means that it's not normal for you yet, but you are in the process of making this normal in the future. All right. Now, this is something else. Why is it not common to use in this tense? This tense is the simple present, right? They get used to playing football after work. Now, why do you think that this is not a common tense for this one? Because actually it will be a little bit weird. Why do you think is that? Why do you think this sentence, grammatically speaking, is correct, but in the terms of sense and the logic of the sentence, it is going to be incorrect? Why? Why do you think it is?
Because in the past use.
No, in this case, when you use, actually, this is something interesting. In these four examples, used is not a verb. This is an adjective, all right? In these four cases, used to is an adjective. Okay, here it is a verb. I used to, this is a verb. We used to, a verb, a verb, a verb, and verbs. Okay, when it's past, it is a verb. But here, be used to and get used to is not a verb anymore. It is an adjective. So this is correct again. All right, but if you say get, you are saying that this is a routine. And you're saying that it's a routine for them to get used to playing football after work. But actually, it's not a routine for you to get used to something, to playing football, for example, because if it's a routine, it's not going to make sense, right? If you say, it's like saying this, right? It's common for me, you're saying this in other words. Uh, all right, something like this. So it's like saying it's common for me to get accustomed to playing football after work. But what happens with get? Get it's only used when it's the process of doing something. And if you say that this process for you it's a routine, it's you are telling me that every time you pass this process, you're making this normal for you, but it's never normal for you. All right. So it's common to use the get used to in the simple past, in the present continuous, and in the future. All right. To say that this is going to be a process for you. All right. And again, I'm going to try to give the idea also in Spanish, and you're going to let me know if you have any questions. Actually, so
Mhm.
far about those ideas, let me know if you have any questions as I'm writing the idea in the chat. Let me know, please, Natalia.
Only in the last sentences, I don't understand at all.
All right. This is going to be
Mhm.
right. Now, it
Because
sounds
I
to
am,
be okay. Tell me, Natalia.
yes, because I am thinking in these sentences like a good habit uh, for health, for example, practice a specific sport,
All right.
and you are incorporating your routine when you talk about playing football. But I
All
don't
right.
know uh,
Uh-huh.
what is that.
No, the idea is what it's in
Ah,
the chat. All right. Is that you're saying that that happens every time. They are never used to that. They are in the process every day. The next day they are in the process. So if you say get used to, you're saying that this is a routine. All right. And
mhm,
this happens every time, but not that this is normal for you. It's like you're saying that they are in an eternal process of getting used to, but they are never going to get used to. All right, something like
mhm,
that. So that's why it's more common to use the present continuous. That's why it's
mhm,
common to say, I am getting used to now, in this moment, all right, in this period of time, to doing something, and in the future, that's going to change. Or even in the past, right? You can say, I got used to doing this. So do you say, in other words, that it's normal for you now? Okay, but that's the
mhm,
only detail, Natalia, because we're using the simple present. It sounds that this thing that has to be temporary, it seems to be a routine. Okay, but this has to be temporary. This cannot be a routine. That's the only observation. I don't know if that helps a
mhm.
little bit, Natalia.
Yes, I think in the for example is will be better. They are getting used to playing football after work.
Exactly. Say that they are in the process of doing that. And here you can
And
use that one. Yeah, tell me, Natalia.
mhm. And what is a good example if I want to say get used only, get without ing?
Actually, I believe that there's not going to be a good example with that one, all right, in the simple present, because of the meaning that it has. The meaning that get used to has is related to a period of time. And as it's only a period of time, it's not logic to use the simple present, just because the simple present is always about something that is, if not the entire life, but for many, many years. All right.
Mhm,
So unless you want to tell me that this is a very long process, then that's going to be correct. But usually that's not going to be the case. All right. Usually the case is that this is temporary, some weeks, some months, even a year, a couple of years. If that's the case, it's always going to be better to use the present continuous. All right. So I would say that if there is one situation, it's just one that I told you, Natalia, in which that process has to be very long. Okay, that process of making that normal for you. In that case, it would be the thing. But that will be one exception in 1 million.
mhm,
All right. That's why it's not going
mhm,
to be common to use the simple present, but you can use the simple past and you can use the future. And it's the same for this one. In number one and number two, you can use the simple past and you can use also the future. All right, in the two cases. It's just that's the only limit that it has, Natalia, that the simple present is routine and it's not that good for this temporary idea.
Mhm. But if you use I getting used always is with ing, getting used, no get used.
Yes, because if it's only get used, that will be simple present, and in this case, the simple present doesn't work.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Exactly. Here it is in the base verb because it shows that you can conjugate this in many ways. It can be in simple past, it can be in present continuous, it can be in simple future, it can be even with modals, right? You can say, I think that I can get used to passing classes at night, right? So you're using can. And in that case, you're using get. But get is not the main verb over there. It's just the secondary idea. The main idea is the modal could or can, right? I think that I can
Mhm.
get used to. Then the idea is not going to be simple present. The idea is going to be ability, right? Or possibility. So that's why get is there,
Mhm.
but you can use it with many conjugations except for the simple present. That's the only limit that you're going to have.
Okay. Mhm.
All right, good. There you go. Now, that's the lesson for this one. I would like to take these 5 minutes to get to the introduction of the next part so that we
Mhm.
understand what we are going to do our next class that is Wednesday because we are going to finish the last two lessons then. Okay, let's give the
Mhm.
introduction then for that.
Okay.
Okay, now this that we're going to cover on Wednesday, Natalia, it is embedded questions. In other words, again, as this is an introduction, we're going to read directly the definition that we got. That is this one over here. Let's read this with you, please.
Mhm. Definition. Sometimes we want to use a question as a part of another question or a statement. This is called an embed question. Mm,
Uh-huh. Yes,
What is
as you
it?
have a dip, right? This is going to be it, right? So in this case, it's going to be embedded.
Embedded. Okay.
Exactly. Embedded question, right? So this is common because you have to ask questions in a polite way and in a formal way. For example, if you are in a different country, right? For example, I believe that we covered this, but you're going to let me know. How do you ask the question, Natalia, if you don't know, right, the location of the restroom or the bathroom, right? Imagine that you're in a different country. How do you approach a person and how do you ask for that information? What do you say?
Um, mm, will you tell me where is the uh, bathroom?
Good, very good. Yes, then I think we saw this or you know that one. That's good. There's only one little detail that it's a very common mistake. But that's an embedded question.
Mm-hmm.
The first question is, could you tell me? Right? That's the first question. The second question is, where is the restroom? Right? Restroom when it's a
Mm-hmm.
public and bathroom when
Oh,
it's in a
yes.
house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But remember, I believe we covered this with you. What is the rule? If we set one question inside another question, it's not in question order, right? So instead of, could you tell me where is the bathroom? It is going to be, could you tell me where the bathroom is, right? Because it's
Yes.
always going to
Mm-hmm.
be subject plus verb, right? That's the only thing.
Uh-huh.
So you remember, that's an embedded question, right? It's when you use a question inside another question to make it more polite, to make it more formal. All right, good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at the two elements. But yes, Natalia, you have a question. Let me know.
Uh-huh. The verb is at the end all the time.
Not at the end. It has to be after the subject. Okay, after the subject. You can have some other elements after the verb. but it's always going to be subject, verb, complement. All right. In the case of our question, we don't have a complement. That's why it's at the end. Okay. But in other questions, you have complements. So it's not going to be at the end. It's going to be after the subject and before the complement. Right. So it's like any sentence. Okay. I like ice cream, right? Subject, verb, complement. That has to be the order of your question. All right. At the beginning, you have the WH word, what, when, where, or you have if or whether, right? If it's a yes, no question. And after that, you have to see that it's always like that. Okay. So it's not always going to be at the end if there is a complement. All right. In this case, it's at the end because we don't have complement also here, right? If you take a look at the end, could you tell me where the station is? Why? Because in the question, where is the station? We don't have a complement because actually we are looking for the complement, right? That is where. So we don't have anything afterwards. Now over here, the same. We don't have a complement. Where does she work? She works. We need to know where. So we don't have complement. And that's again why here the verb is at the end. All right, but let's see one exception, not exception. Let's see another case. Okay, here, for example, in this last two, and even here, this is the embedded question, but it's not finishing in the verb, right? It's finishing in that. Why? Because this is the complement, right? Subject, verb, complement. Here, this is the verb because we don't have complement. Here, this is the verb, no complement, verb, no complement, verb, because we don't have no complement. But here we have a complement, right? She's going to do it. So we don't finish in the verb, and the same here, right? Why started this? All right, so that will be the main explanation, Natalia. It's always going to depend on your question. If your question has a complement, that's always going to be at the end, right? Like in any other statement or any other sentence. All right, so let's read the first two usages to have this introduction and to be finishing the class. Let's read this one first, please.
Usage one, we can use embedded questions as part of other questions. This is sometimes called an indirect question and is often used to be polite. Normal question, where is the station? Indirect question, that includes an embedded question. Could you tell me where the station is?
There you go. So this is a question inside a question, right? Because could you tell me? It's a question. It starts with the model, right? So at the end, we're going to have a question mark. But it can also be in statements, right? This is the statement situation. Let's read this as well, please, Natalia.
We can also use embedded question and part of statements. The embedded question is a noun clause and can be used in a similar way to a noun. Normal question, where does she work? Embedded question in a statement. I don't know where she works. Where she works is the object.
Great, thank you. Now, in this case, this is not a question, right? I don't know, that's a statement. But you place the question inside a statement, and of course, we don't end with a question mark, right? We end with period over here. Okay, so those are the two situations. It is a question inside another question or inside a statement, but the rule is always the same. It has to be in sentence order. All right, subject, verb, complement. And remember, we don't always have complements, so in that case, it's going to be subject and verb. All right, now we're not going to practice this now, of course, we're going to practice this on Wednesday, but the thing that we have to know is that as I was showing you here, you have some expressions that you can use with embedded questions. And I'm going to try to ask you just one, all right? For example, if this is my question, Natalia, okay, they are going to travel tomorrow. They are, no, actually, that's the main idea, right? Let me do a question because that's the embedded question. Is she, all right? Is she doing her homework now? Is she doing her homework now? How can you form an embedded question with that question? What do you say?
Mm, um, the sentence is she doing her homework now?
Exactly. That's the real question. Is she doing her homework now? How do you change that to an embedded question? And you can use a question inside a question, or you can use a question inside a statement. That's up to you.
I don't know. She is doing her homework now.
Okay, we're close. Good. So we're missing just one rule. Remember the rule? I believe that we covered this. If that's the case, when we don't have a question word, it means when it's a yes no question, we have to use if or whether, right? So how would it be with that word?
Uh, I have
It
to
has to
repeat.
be, yes, please. Let's repeat, and you have to use if or whether at the beginning of your question. I mean, the embedded question, right? It's going to be actually in the middle, right? You first tell me the statement or the question, then you put this word, if or whether, and then you give me the embedded question in sentence.
I don't know if she is doing her homework now.
Perfect. Exactly. Okay, this is the formula. So you place the statement, I don't know, if when you have yes no questions, and she is doing her homework now, right? And then period or question mark. If it's a statement, then you need a period, right? If it's a question, you need a question mark. But that's it. All right, right now, again, we don't have the time to practice, but on Wednesday, we're going to practice yes no questions with embedded questions and information questions as well, in many different tenses, that we remember the rule for the auxiliaries, for the verbs that we have to use, the structure and everything. All right, but I don't know, remember, this was only an introduction. Do you have any questions, or at least one question or one comment about this before finishing? Let me know, please, Natalia.
No, I remember that I practiced the same topic in the Pearson platform, and all my exercises are wrong. But I'm not, I don't have, I don't understand at all, but I think that we check in the next class.
Okay, yes, we will check, and you're going to see that it's easy. It's just one way of making one question more formal. Okay, and again, the main thing, Natalia, perhaps they were incorrect just because of the order. Remember that the order is always going to be sentence order. But again, we're going to practice that on Wednesday, and with my corrections, I think you're going to be able to understand. All right?
Okay.
Good. Let's finish then. As always, I'm sending the poll over there, Natalia. Let's fill that out, please. And with that, we finish. All right, I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you on Wednesday then.
Okay, thank you. See you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. See you.